Hey there, Gators. My name is Kim, and I am here to show you guys how to use the semester budget proposal. This is a new method that we are trying to use for the Council of Finance for you guys to get funding for all the items that you want for your academic year, or really your semester, because this is a semester budget proposal. However, you guys do have up to about $2,000 that you can use for your organization per academic year. So that's in total between your fall and your spring semester. This proposal is just for you guys for the semester because we know it can be very difficult to plan out an entire year. So we're going to have you guys start planning out just the semester to start with. This is a brand new process, and I am fully aware of that. So if you run into any problems or kinks along the way, just shoot me an email. My name is Kim, and my email is kwilson@uhd.edu. This is in place of the previous process that we had, which we heard from you guys might have been a bit difficult or challenging. So this is to really help you guys plan for the entire semester. Before, the old process was that you would submit an application for every item that you needed, but we understand that it's a bit difficult to track when you want like 10 different things, trying to track 10 different applications, right? So this is kind of to help minimize the need for all of that tracking, but it does require that you do a lot more planning at the beginning of the semester with your entire officer team. So I need you to be aware of that. Please, you're going to do a lot of planning in the beginning, but I promise you it's worth it. There are certain items that we need to have in order to approve some of these requests, right? We want you to plan everything. So like, let's say you have an idea for let's say like a spring event. MLK Day is coming up, right? So like, let's say you want to do like an MLK event. So you may have an idea for the event, but you don't know the specifics. We need certain things in order to approve your request and start ordering things or getting things together for you. But if you don't have a specific idea of all the things that you need, please still put the event down as though you still want to have it. And what can happen later is that you're going to submit what's called an amendment just to fill in further details so that we can add things. You need to submit the amendment at least 4 weeks prior to the event. That's the catch right there, is that you need to submit an amendment 4 weeks prior. It's a bit easier than submitting a whole new application, but we still prefer that you have all of the details here on the spot, right, so that we can get it approved. This is just so that we can go ahead again and start ordering things for you and make the process a lot easier. But it is still possible if you don't have all the details at the beginning of the semester, you can still get them later. And I'll go through that amendment process probably in a different video. For now, for all the events that you want to get together, I'm going to show you how to use this budget proposal. So again, obviously, this is what we'll pull up once you'll create a copy of it, right? So any link that you use will prompt you to create a copy, and this copy will be specific to your organization. So you're going to change, obviously, your club name here, or you're going to, I don't know, I'm in all caps, gardening club, or I really don't know. We're just going to stick to your club name here. This right here, you're not going to change. This is going to change automatically based on the month. What you can change right here is the event name number 1. So I will show you within a single month, I have in here on average 4 events, right? And they're all listed down here. The way that you can expand all of these is there's over here to the left hand side, there's a little minus button, and you can minimize all the information in that event. And to me, this kind of just makes it look more clean, easier to kind of manage, right? Especially if you don't have 4 events in a month, and let's say you just have 1. It's really easy just to look at this instead of all of these down here, right? And the way that I'm expanding this is there's a plus sign over here on the left-hand side whenever it's minimized like this. So you'll hit the plus, and then it will pop up all the information down here. I'm not going to use all of these down here, and instead we're just going to use one event to show you guys kind of how this works. So I'm going to put a, let's say an officer meeting, because you can order stuff for your officer meeting as long as you think that it's reasonable and it's within your budget and you guys as officers kind of agree that you want these items. So I'm going to put, well, maybe it's a monthly officer meeting, right? So monthly officer meeting. Cool, look good. The date. When it comes to the date, I want you to be aware that if you're not sure on the exact date, that's okay, but I need you to have a couple of dates in mind, at least somewhat specific, right? So like, let's say you don't know if you want it to be January 17th or 18th. That's perfectly okay. I want you to put that here, right? So like, let's say 1-17 or 1-18. That's okay. I just need to have a couple of dates in mind. It just can't be, like sometime during the week of January 17th. That's not going to fly. I need generally an exact date. It's okay to have 1 or 2 dates in mind, because I know and I'm fully aware that there are certain people that need to be at certain events, but you don't know what their availability is. I totally get that. It's okay. So, down here you also have the room. Actually, before I move on, I want to make a note that this information that I'm giving you is also available if you hover over these navy or like dark blue areas, right? It gives you a little blurb everywhere within here, right? So even if I go to event number 2, if you hover over it, it's the same thing. And this is just so that as you're going through it, you don't always need to come back and watch this video, and instead you can kind of see that little blurb and go, oh, okay, I remember that now. Again, watch this video in its entirety, and then you should be set for how to fill this out on its own. For the room, so moving on. For the room, you don't need a specific room number in mind if it's something like an officer meeting. Like let's say you just want a small classroom, you can put small classroom, right? And that's perfectly okay, because if you've reserved a room for an event before, you probably are aware that you can actually just request a small classroom and you don't need a specific room number in mind. That's perfectly okay. If it's for a big event and you want a big room, like let's say you want A300, that's a really large room and the availability for that room is really thin. Don't know if you can get it, especially if you're applying for a room reservation. Let's say like the first week of school, it's difficult to get those big rooms because they're usually reserved for like larger events throughout the semester. So you need to keep that in mind. If it's for like, let's say a room in the library, you can reserve that in a different way. And typically you can see whether or not it's available like on the spot, right? So it depends on the room. But if you have a room in mind, I'd put it here. The most common room in the library, I think for like general member meetings is, I think it's like N420, if I remember right. That's really common. It's pretty open. Great for member meetings, probably like 30 people or less. It's a really good room. So for that, right here is a drop down menu. So you hit that little arrow and it shows you a couple of options that you can put here. This just makes it easier, in my opinion. Kind of limits what you can put. So for the room reservation, you're going to put like not applied if you haven't even like tried applying for it yet. If you have gotten, if you have applied, but you haven't received any kind of notification, you're going to put pending. And then if you have received confirmation for this room, you're going to hit confirmed. Okay, so the next thing you're going to worry about is activities. Obviously for an officer meeting, you may not have activities, but this is the portion where you're going to explain, like, if you're having a bingo night, you're going to explain that you're having bingo, right? If you're ordering supplies for bingo, this just kind of makes sense. When the Council of Finance is looking at this budget proposal, we'll see, okay, cool, they're having a bingo night, and they want to purchase some bingo supplies. Makes total sense, right? What they're looking for is if things don't align. So, for instance, if you have activities like you're playing hopscotch and you're ordering like pizza for 400 people, that doesn't really make sense and it doesn't add up, right? So they're just looking out for things like that. They just want everything to align. So obviously for activities, we don't have anything because it's a monthly officer meeting, and that's okay to leave that out. Your reason for hosting the event for an officer meeting, it's probably just going to be for planning purposes, right? And that's okay. Doesn't need to be a long explanation. If you're trying to host like a MLK Day event, then you'd probably put for education purposes. Cool. Or, you know, if it's like a Halloween party, you can put like social gathering. Doesn't need to be super crazy in depth. We just want like a reason as to like why you're hosting it. We don't want it to just be some, like hosting it for fun. Like it's a social gathering, or it's for education, or it's for planning, right? Typically there's some kind of reason that you're wanting to host this event. So for an officer meeting, we're going to put, for planning purposes, who the event is for. Now, this is important because there are kind of 3 different ways that you can word this, right? Who the event is for is either for your organization members, for all UHD students, or for everybody in the community. Those are typically the 3 options that you have. There is some like leeway with it, which is why there isn't any kind of drop-down menu. But like, let's say you want to host a bingo night for your members. Here you would put for club members. Oh, I'm misspelling that. Club members. For here, right, because it's for officers, I'm going to put club officers. But the difference in members and UHD students is that some clubs and organizations have certain requirements that members have to meet. Right, so for Greek life, there are certain requirements that you have to meet before you become an active like member, right? For certain organizations, there's dues involved, certain attendance requirements, right? Things like that. So that kind of sections off who is able to come if it's just for members. If it's for, you want it to be for all UHD students, you would just put UHD students, and that's totally okay. This gets tricky though in the next line whenever you have expected attendance. So expected attendance, if it's for all UHD students, a good rule of thumb to use is that you're going to take all of your club members and add 10, right? So this is like best case scenario, because in that case you're planning for not only all of your club members but also 10 new people to show up as well. And that's kind of on the more positive side, because typically not all of your members are going to show up, but you're also adjusting for, hey, maybe they do all show up, and on top of that you get some new people. That's kind of cool. So I'm just going to use the example of, like, let's say you are hosting a bingo night. If you have 30 registered members in campus groups, I'm just going to add 10 to that. Right, so that's typically how I go off of like how many club members you have is how many you have registered in campus groups. So in campus groups, as an officer, you can see how many members you have. So like, let's say you have 30, gonna add 10 because you want all UHD students. So like, let's say 40, you're expecting around 40 people to show up. This is important because, again, this needs to align with the amount of items that you want to purchase. Again, for example, if you have, or you're expecting about 40 people to show up, it's not very reasonable to order pizza for about 400 people. That's something that the Council of Finance is just going to look at and make sure that everything kind of lines up, and that's why that's important. For this in particular, it's an officer meeting, so we're going to put club officers, and if there's 5 of y'all, I'm just going to put 5. Down here for the total event budget, you do not change this, and I don't think you can either. So this will change automatically based off of a total for the event, right? Up here you have the total for the month. This is the total for the event. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the items over here on the right-hand side. Just to let you know, the items right here on the left in this box are generally required in order for this event to be approved, right? All of this needs to be here. Besides activities, depending on what kind of event you're hosting, right? Like if it's for a monthly officer meeting, you may not need activities, but if it's for a bingo night, I need you to put bingo, right? Obviously there. So in that case, all of these items right here are required in order for the items to be approved for purchase, right? Any items that you put right here to the right hand side, in order for us to get those, we need all of this information in order for it to be approved through Council of Finance, right? So like, let's say you don't have a room in mind yet. You're like, oh, I don't know if I want a big room or a small room. I need you to know in order for this to be approved, right? I need you to have some kind of like room in mind. This is just for planning purposes. I need you guys to be thinking about these things. So, moving on from that, on the right-hand side, I'm just going to scroll over a little bit. Scrolling over too much. Right here, I'm going to show you how to add items for ordering. For here, I'm going to show you, like, let's say for an officer meeting, I'm going to show you how to, like, get a few different things, right? And a couple of different ways to order it too. So, I'm going to show you how to request pizza, soda, and then anything on Amazon, because I know Amazon's a very popular choice for a way to order things, and those are all ordered somewhat differently. So, items to purchase. For when it comes to pizza, pizza is really common, right? It's a really common food item to order. If you tell people, hey, there's free pizza, lots of people will probably come. Students love pizza. It's a really great thing to have. For an officer meeting, if you think that it's reasonable and within your budget to order pizza for your officer meeting, you can. Totally okay. For the item, you're going to list down specifics. I can't just have you put one pizza. That's not specific enough. I need the flavor at the very least, right? So let's say 1 cheese pizza. And let's say you also want a pepperoni pizza. 1 pepperoni pizza. I also need you to think about the amount, please. If you're having a member meeting and you want like 2 pepperoni pizzas and 2 cheese pizzas, I need you to put that, right? So you'd put 2 cheese pizzas. You know what, let's do 2 cheese pizzas and 1 pepperoni pizza just for the sake of like having some variety. And then we're also going to add soda, right? So like and again, you have to think about the flavor. So if you want, let's say, Coke, I need you to also think about what pack size you want. You want a 12 pack? You want a 24 pack? What do you want? So let's say you want 1 12 pack of Coke. Bam. That's good right there. And then for this, I'm also going to say like maybe y'all want pens. I think because I already looked that up before. Let's say you, for some reason, you need pens to write your stuff down at this meeting. I don't know. Look, you just want to order it, right? I need something from Amazon for you guys to order so I can show you guys the example, right? So, starting off with now this link section right here. This is for really anything that you're trying to order online. So, especially if you're trying to order t-shirts from like an online vendor, we really need a link to so that we can verify like the pricing. That's really what this is for. If you're ordering like pizza or sodas, those are typically like a one-time, like we generally know the price for those. For pizza, our default vendor is Domino's, and then for sodas, our default vendor is Sam's Club. If you want it from anywhere else, again, you would put that link here, and then you would also identify the vendor. But generally speaking, if it's from Domino's or Sam's Club, you don't have to put the link online. If you're ordering anything from Sam's Club that's like not soda, you need to put the link. You can actually go to Sam's Club online and search for the item and then put the link here. So like if you're trying to order like cupcakes and you want like a specific pack of cupcakes that Sam's has, we need you to put the link here so that we can order the right cupcakes that you want. That's just for us to order the correct stuff, obviously. So for pizza from Domino's, right? I don't necessarily need the link because I'm okay with Domino's. So for the vendor, I'm going to put Domino's. Cool. And same with pepperoni pizza, I'm going to put Domino's. Now for the soda, I'm going to put Sam's Club because I am okay with Sam's Club as a default vendor. For the pens, I'm going to put Amazon because I am ordering them from Amazon. I have a link right here for pens that I just randomly found. And so I'm going to put that link here next to the pens. Bam, good to go. It's right here inside of this little square. So for the budget, for pizza, I'm going to tell you, I would personally budget about $12 per pizza, right? So if you want 2 cheese pizzas, what's 12 times 2? 24. We're going to budget about $24 for 2 pizzas. This generally is good enough to include like a tip, which we generally tip about 10%. So $12 pizza would probably include a 10% tip. So budget about $24 for 2 pizzas. For 1 pepperoni pizza, we're gonna say it's about $12, right? Kind of following me here. So for sodas, for a 12 pack, I'm generally gonna say maybe like $5, and then maybe for a 12 pack, we're gonna say like 8 or 9. I'm probably gonna go with 9 just to be on the higher end. This is again another recommendation. When you are budgeting for things, please budget higher than what you are expecting. And I would round up just for simplicity's sake to make sure everything is kind of like rounded off, even, good to go. I say round higher because then that ensures that you have enough budget. If you round too low and we start ordering things for you and you run out of your budget, then we can't order some things for you and it's going to make things a bit messy. So I, again, highly recommend that you budget high. So for sodas, because it's a 12 pack, I'm just going to say like $5 for a 12 pack. And then because the pens on Amazon are $21.18, I'm going to round up and say $22. Cool. I think everything's good to go up until now. So, we're now moving on to this section right here, which is pickup, shipping, or delivery. You're going to select what type it is right here. So the reason I added such a variety of items is to show you these different options. So for the pizza gets delivered, and it usually gets delivered at the Metro Rail stop on the portico. The portico is literally just like the section of building that we have between the entrance and the Metro Rail stop. Domino's typically delivers there. If you want it delivered to a different part of the campus, you're going to have to let us know. That's typically where it's dropped off. So pizza gets delivered, so we're going to select delivery. Again, you have a drop down menu right here. Going to hit the arrow and select delivery. For the soda, this is actually, for soda it can be a couple of different things. Sam's Club actually allows us for students to pick up the items themselves. And pickup in general is an option if, like, let's say you don't want to pay for shipping for t-shirts that are being made locally here in Houston, right? Pickup is an option, but we need a pickup like person to contact to say, hey, like this is ready to go, you can go pick it up. Or like we need a location that you're picking it up from as well. There's a bit more details involved with picking up as opposed to, like, let's say shipping. Same with delivery. We need like a delivery person of somebody who's going to physically be there to actually get the pizzas from the delivery like driver, right? So for sodas, let's say you have somebody that's willing to go pick up the soda from Sam's like on their way to school one day. That's totally okay. We would love that. So I'm going to select pickup to show you guys what that process would look like. And then for the pens, I'm going to say shipping, because anything from Amazon will actually get shipped directly to student activities inside UHD, right? So within the student activities department, on the second floor, we will get all Amazon deliveries sent there, and that's where you'll be able to pick up all of your Amazon items. So we have delivery, pickup, and shipping items here, so I can show you all that difference. Who is picking up? So this is the person, again, who's going to be the point of contact for picking up the pizza or picking up from a certain location, right? So for pizza, who is going to actually meet the delivery driver? I need to know. So let's say Lucy is willing to go out to the portico right before y'all's meeting, meet the delivery driver, and sign off and do the tip and get the receipt and everything that's needed. So I'm going to put Lucy. Actually, I need their last name too. So we're going to put Lucy Randall. I don't know why I thought of that, but that's now the name. And Lucy's going to be, again, the same person for this pizza as well. So Lucy's going to be picking up the pizza whenever it gets delivered to UHD. For that, here I'm going to scroll over a little bit more. I need all of their contact information. I need their phone number, and I need their email address. So Lucy's phone number, 123-456-7890. Right, cool. I need their email at gmail.com. Cool, got their information. When it comes to their phone number, I need them to be willing to answer calls from strangers. You need to make that very clear to them that they need to be willing to answer unknown numbers. I know for students, it's very typical for you guys to not answer calls from strangers, and I totally get it. I'm the exact same way. When a call comes in from some stranger, I just think it's a spam call. Like, typically that's what it is, and I don't want to bother with it. Around this date, though, when you need the pizza or whenever you need to pick something up, this pickup person needs to answer their phone for everyone. And I mean that because the Domino's delivery driver, if they show up early and nobody's out there, and if they call and nobody answers, you're not getting your pizza, right? So I need this person to answer their phone. Please stress that to them. And then also, we need their email in case we receive any email updates about the order. We will be forwarding that to you guys as well. For pickup location address, we need a specific address when it comes to places like Sam's Club or anywhere off campus. For location, for delivery, you can typically just put UHD, right? Because you're picking it up from UHD, and this kind of helps you with your records as well. So I'm going to copy all of that information down. I'm just clicking and dragging. Okay, cool. Now we're moving on to the soda from Sam's Club, right? So I'm going to say that Sam is picking up from Sam's Club. Sam Randall. Let's say Lucy has a brother named Sam, and he's picking up from Sam's Club, right? So this is a different person. They're going to have their own phone number. I'm just copying it down for simplicity's sake, but they're going to have their own phone number, their own email. It's even more important that this person also checks their, answers their calls and checks their email. Because when it comes to picking up from a different location, we'll be emailing all of the updates to this person, right? Forwarding any emails on to them, etc. In this case, it is essential that I have an address from you, because otherwise we don't know where to place the Sam's order for, right? Again, same with like if you're picking up t-shirts, I need an address, because when we go in and actually place the order online, we have to have an address with it. We typically might also be contacting you, like calling you or emailing you to ask for like a time, especially for Sam's Club. They'll typically ask for like a time frame of like, oh, you're picking up on like January 17th from like 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., right? That's not always needed, so that's why we'll like reach out to you to ask for that question. But we do need an address, absolutely, because otherwise we literally just can't place the order, right? So that will be needed here. So like, let's say 123 Street 77777, right? So that'll be the address right there. Next, we're gonna move on to our Amazon order, right? For items that are being shipped, we typically don't require that we have a pickup person on file, because what will happen is we'll email your organization, whatever organization email you guys have on file, we'll just email that. We can also just go ahead and we'll probably email all of the officers through campus groups just to say, hey, like something arrived here at student activities for you guys to pick up whenever you want, right? And then you can just send someone over, and that person will typically go, hey, like I'm here for XYZ club to pick up something that was delivered here. And then we'll go from there, right? So you don't always need a person to pick up, but like let's say you do have somebody that's typically always on campus, that's a good pickup person to stop by student activities, you can put them here, right? So let's say Lucy is a good pickup person, you can just put her down here and her phone number, email, etc., right? Doesn't need to be super complicated. And they'll be picking up from student activities. Cool. And then you'll put their phone number, email address, you'll be good to go. You will not, again, moving on, you will not be editing this column right here for the approval status. Council of Finance will be changing this after they've decided whether or not it's approved. If you have all of the information that I just went through filled out and good to go here in this, you will typically be approved, right? Unless there's some major complication, you will typically be approved for all of these items, right? The only reason you would be denied is if there is some major complication. Like let's say things don't add up. Let's say you know, over here on the left-hand side, you said you were expecting 5 people, yet you're ordering 400 pizzas, right? If it's something like that, then you'll probably be denied. Needs amendment is in case you don't have all this information. Let's say you want something from Sam's Club, but you don't have the address or you don't have a pickup person. We will, or Council of Finance will typically say, hey, you're not approved yet, but you need an amendment. An amendment will typically go through faster than a brand new application, but you still need that amendment in order to get this item. We are not going to order it until it is approved. I'm just making that very clear. These items will not be ordered at all until it's approved. And ordering stuff can typically take about 2 weeks for it to actually come in, right? So just please bear that in mind. So like let's say this was denied for whatever reason, so that'll show up here. Okay, what else am I missing? I think that's it for the event itself, right? As you can see down here, the total event budget changed and the total January budget changed as well. If I go down here to event 2, I'm not going to like do this again, but if I fill in right here, like let's say I budget for an item that's like $20, the total event budget changes here. This will stay the same because this is a different event. And then at the top, when you scroll up, this adds them all together, right? So you can budget for the entire month. I'm going down here and I'm changing it from January to February. Again, I don't have anything in February, so it's obviously going to show 0. But if I go all the way over here to the right after the May budget to this total budget, this is where all of your months will show up in total and then create a grand total down here. Your grand total cannot exceed $2,000. $2,000 is generally what you have for the entire academic year. If you choose to spend all $2,000 in one semester, that's okay. It's up to you guys. However, you will then not have any money for the next semester. This resets every academic year, so because this is the spring semester, if you did not spend anything in the fall semester and you still have that entire $2,000 that you can spend in the spring, then yeah, sure, you can go ahead and spend all of it in the spring, and then it resets in the fall. That's totally okay. If you did spend some stuff or spend any money in the fall semester through Council of Finance, that does affect this total, right? So your whatever you spent in the fall plus this amount cannot exceed over $2,000, right? And that's typically the treasurer's job to go in and like make sure that that doesn't exceed the $2,000, right? And this is again why it really helps to plan and keep track of these things, because then you can go back and look at this and say, okay, cool. Last semester we spent around, $1,000. Okay, next semester we can spend $1,000, so on and so forth. It really helps with the planning process. So I think that's about it for all of this budgeting or this semester budget proposal. If you have any questions, again, let me know. I'm really hopeful that this will help, especially with you guys for planning everything. I really hope that you guys have a lot more events out of this and that you can have a lot of cool stuff. And yeah, I really hope that this helps and improves the process. This was all kind of created from y'all's feedback. And I know that especially during COVID times, things are a bit chaotic and crazy. So please bear with us as we try to improve this process. But I believe that's it. So thank you guys so much for sticking in there for a little over 30 minutes. I know this was a bit long, but once you get this, you're good to go, I promise. Thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you.